welcome to this episode of What's Up Weekly, where we tell you the latest news in 10 minutes or less. I'm Margot Andrews.
And I'm Brittany Bradley. We're here to keep you informed and let you know what's happening each week on campus and around the world. So let's start this week with a fitness update. Our society is always on people to work out and get healthy, and it seems like we are finally getting the message. Turns out people are working out and sweating so much that fitness equipment companies are having to create new machines to sustain the damage sweating is causing. Turns out that in spin classes, people's sweat is ruining the bikes. The sweat dripping on the bikes is causing them to rust, become waterlogged, and even ruin the wiring to short circuit. To fix this problem, Flywheel and SoulCycle have introduced sweat-resistant bikes. These bikes feature a waterproof data gathering system that allows bikers to see their speed and progress throughout the duration of their workout. Now fitness gurus can enjoy a hard workout without the fear of breaking their bikes.
Yeah, it's really interesting, but it's also kind of gross.
I know, but I mean, sweating means you're having a hard workout, so I guess it pays off.
Yeah, well, maybe in addition to some sweat, Americans should watch what foods they choose to intake. The first annual Food Day is approaching. October 24th marks the date for an effort meant to bring Americans together to push for healthy and affordable food. In anticipation of the day, one organization has released a list of foods it calls the Terrible 10, in which the 10 worst aspects of America's food scene are ranked. Number 1 on the list, Coca-Cola, which the organization calls liquid candy thanks to 9 teaspoons of sugar per can. McDonald's double quarter pounder with cheese, Coke, and fries meal second, followed by salt, feedlot beef, and, believe it or not, Kellogg's Fruit Loops to round off the top 5. The Center for Science and the Public Interest believes these aspects of the American diet highlight some of the biggest threats to a healthy food system.
So I guess I'm meaning that my chicken nuggets probably aren't the most healthiest thing.
Yeah, I think we already knew that. I just wonder if our love of Diet Coke is as bad as the regular. I mean, there's no sugar, but all their aspartame. I can't give it up completely. I love it.
I can't either. It's addicting. You know what else I love too much to give up is reality TV.
Of course.
Which brings me to our weekly Dancing with the Stars update. We're halfway through the Dancing with the Stars competition, and the show had its 5th elimination this week. The theme was 80s, and we saw a lot of bright colors, tight costumes, and sexy dance moves. No complaining there. This week brought new leaders to the scoreboard, with JR and Karina making their first run as top contenders. All of the contestants continued to improve and raise their scores, but the duo consisting of Ricky Lake and Derek Huff, the two earned their worst results, with the judges commenting that Ricky's performance was weak. But the pair remained a fan favorite and was safe from elimination, sending Carson Kressley and his partner Anna home.
Oh, well, I guess Nancy Grace and Rob Kardashian are still going strong then, huh?
They are. They're still kicking. And in more Dancing with the Stars news, Derek may have had a rough week on the show, but it seems like his love life is heating up. We have a new couple alert. The pro dancer is currently being linked to reality star and fashionista Lauren Conrad. The two have been spotted out and about in LA and were even seen kissing on the dance floor at a popular hotspot in Hollywood. The rumor mill started last month when the duo attended a concert together. The relationship has continued to progress, as Derek has even been spotted with his arm around her in public and sneaking in some kisses when he can. Of course, the two have not commented on the truth of the relationship, but my only concern if they are dating is that they kind of look like brother and sister.
You know, they say you start looking more like the person you date the longer you spend time with them, so
I don't know.
It'll get worse.
I think they kind of look alike already, so I don't know.
Well, speaking of Elsie, I have a little bit more respect for her than her other Laguna sidekicks because she's actually got something going for her. She's got her books, her clothing line. Not to say she wasn't completely relying on the small screen, but she tries to stay out of the limelight.
She's got it going on. Granted, the TV helped her, but there seems like she kind of doesn't like being in the limelight.
I know. Well, here's a story about people who just can't escape the limelight. Almost everyone watches, semi-watches, or has their girlfriend make them watch the Kardashians. But which other famous family is saying absolutely not to their kids in terms of tuning into the show? That'd be the First family. In a recent interview, First Lady Michelle Obama stated that she monitors and limits what her children watch on TV, and that Barack doesn't like his children to watch the Kardashians line of shows. I can't say I blame them. The two girls are pretty young, and the Kardashian family is known for filling their show with some pretty racy topics.
Yeah, mostly Khloe. I mean, she can get a little out of control with like screaming about shaking, you know what.
Yeah, I think that's her way of overcompensating for being third and other things.
I love Khloe.
You know, it's true. And while I've mentioned politics, I'm going to throw in another bit. The 2012 election is causing loads of stories about candidates and parties. And most recently, it seems like a lot of attention has been focused on potential Republican nominee Herman Cain. Now, I'm rather embarrassed to note that when I was talking about politics with my parents, I didn't even recognize his name. But after becoming more aware of the businessman,
rare for you.
It is, yeah. But after becoming more aware of the businessman, it seems the press doesn't go a day without mentioning him. Cain has reportedly gained a new lead over Obama with seniors and independent voters in a hypothetical general election contest, gaining 43% over Obama's 41%. Voters seem to like Cain because of his unconventional candidacy. He's not a politician, he's actually had a long career in the business world. However, some analysts assume that he's more the flavor of the month than an actual frontrunner.
I mean, as you know, I don't really know much about this, so I can't really comment on this.
So that story's done. Let's move on.
I'm just going to go to what I do know, and that's Hollywood. In more Hollywood news, believe it or not, even stars can have bad days. Actor Shia LaBeouf was involved in a serious altercation in Vancouver, Canada. TMZ, of course, was on scene and able to catch video of Shia getting beaten up. Check out the video as the Hollywood superstar is laying on the pavement as his attacker flees the scene and Shia attempts one more kick at him. No word on what caused the fight, but a source told TMZ that it began in a bar called Cinema Public House and the two men were thrown out by security. From there, Shia's attacker ripped off his shirt and started throwing punches. As you can see in the video, after the Transformer star was able to get back on his feet, he tried to go after his attacker, but his friends held him back, warning him to lay low.
Yeah, I actually saw something about this on Chelsea Handler. They're making fun of him for only getting tough when the other guy backed down.
Exactly. I mean, I just miss his old goofy ways on the Disney Channel.
I know, he was so fun back then.
He was.
Speaking of good times as a kid, that leads us to our next story. It's always a good idea to have a designated driver when you're planning on throwing a few back, but does having a 9-year-old DD, that kind of breaks some laws. A Michigan man had his 9-year-old daughter drive him to the store because he'd been drinking. After receiving a phone call from someone who saw the two at the gas station, a detective in the area spotted the girl sitting behind the wheel in her booster seat. Just before 3 a.m., the girl told the officer that her dad had let her drive before and that he'd been drinking whiskey all night. The father has since been charged with 2 counts of child abuse and being a habitual offender. If sentenced, he could face up to 15 years in prison.
I must say, the girl's actually a pretty good driver for her age.
I know, if you look at the video, she knows what she's doing, but her parents are divorced and her mom stated today that she didn't even know the girl knew how to drive.
That's not a good
I wouldn't
situation.
assume a 9-year-old would anyway.
Yeah,
maybe a Barbie Jeep.
Not a good situation. So let's move into the sports world. We're in the heart of football season and things are really starting to heat up. This year has brought many surprises. Unfortunately, the Colts have still yet to win a game, along with the Rams and the Dolphins. And then we have the Packers, who are surprisingly the only team still undefeated. Needless to say, this has been a rough year for many in the NFL, but just like anything else, the sport definitely has its popular players. Despite the number of X's and O's on the scoreboard, Boss-Up.com has compiled a list of the top 10 players with the highest public appeal. I personally have an issue with the rankings because Pepe was listed as number 10. Then again, the fact that he made the list when he hasn't been playing is pretty impressive. The top 3 most likable players were Ndamukong Suh from the Lions, Aaron Rodgers from the Packers, and Troy Polamalu from the Steelers. You can check out the entire list of popular players at Boss-Up.com.
I have some bad news. I heard Aaron Rodgers surpassed Peyton in the most profitable athlete marketing wise.
Oh, no.
Yeah, we learned that in class the other day.
Peyton's going through a lot right now. Let's just, try not to bring up those tough issues for him.
Okay, well, anyway,
keep it on the
speaking of issues, the Jersey Shore episodes are always full of them, and I thought the Jersey Shore was quite a popular show. Everyone has Jersey Day parties and stuff, but apparently it's not doing enough to give some of its stars quite a celebrity status. Mike Sorrentino, aka The Situation, recently had his ego put in check by the Apple Store. The 29-year-old just couldn't wait in the long lines like everyone else, and according to tech news site Gizmodo, The Situation tried to cut in line to get his very own iPhone 4S and got kicked out. An Apple employee saw what the Sitch was doing and threw him out. I don't know what's more embarrassing, ramming your own head into a wall, knocking yourself out, or being denied star status. I guess we'd have to ask him personally.
Honestly, he seems like such a jerk. I'm kind of over him. Get him out of the house, get someone new in.
I know, he's almost 30. How long can you make a living off being drunk?
I mean, Snooki's been able to do it this long, so, maybe there's hope for him. I don't know.
We just need a show to get an empire, I guess.
I guess so. Well, that wraps up this week's episode of What's Up Weekly.
Be sure to follow us on Twitter at What's Up Weekly IU. Have a great week.